Okay, we're live.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leifka. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the uh, March 5th, 2026 meeting of the Subcommittee on Motor Vehicles and Transportation here in the Maryland General Assembly. I'm Delegate Robin Lewis, Chair of the Subcommittee. Thanks to everyone for joining us. On behalf of all the members, we welcome our guests, experts, and visitors into the Zoom room. We do ask you maintain your cameras off and mics off until a direct question is asked. We have an agenda today to go through, and I'll just enumerate that, and Leifka will bring it up on the screen. We're going to begin with House Bill 668, St. Mary's County, Prohibition on Standing in Inherently Dangerous Highways. House Bill 591, Wycomico County Highway Pedestrian Safety Act. Next, House Bill 1169, Howard County Highway Speed Limits. Then House Bill 212, Vehicle Laws, Out-of-State Vehicles, Improper Registration. That's Delegate Addison's bill. House Bill 862, Railroads Required Crew for Movement of Freight, otherwise known as a two-person crew bill from Delegate Stein. House Bill 1081, that's the Maryland Transit Administration Reform Act from Chair Mark Corman. And then lastly, House Bill 253, Vehicle Laws, Heavyweight Port Corridor Permits Regulations Bill. So let's start at the top with House Bill 668, St. Mary's County Prohibition. Patrick, can you walk through that bill?
Well, we might as well do the first two together because they are exactly the same bill, just for different counties.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you.
Okay, little quick background. Delegate Stewart last year was the chair of this subcommittee and noticed a problem with pretty much all of our roadside solicitation bills, namely that they were statutes, namely that they were unconstitutional. And we had two last year from these two counties, Wacomico and St. Mary's, that kind of mirrored those unconstitutional provisions currently in our law. So he and I did some work, some research with Delegate Beecham was part of it, and Delegate Morgan, Todd Morgan here on our subcommittee. And we came up with some language in concert with the state's attorney in Wycomico County that we think passes constitutional muster. Now, and that's what we have in these bills. Namely, they're pretty short. We define inherently dangerous, and then, state a person may not stand in a roadway, shoulder, median, intersection determined by a county, municipal corporation to be inherently dangerous. And then say a police officer may not issue a citation unless it has appropriate signage installed, according to state law. Fairly simple, straightforward, but we think it works. Now we're having a little bit of an issue that we're going back and forth on with the signage part, which I don't believe, I got to check into this a little more, I do not believe goes to the constitutional issues we were trying to work around. But I wanted to at least get you the background, get the discussion started on these two bills. And Delegate Beecham, as I said, I was working with the Wacomico County State's Attorney's Office. It was very helpful and very good working relationship. Unfortunately, the gentleman I was working with has since left that office. And I was hoping that you could play a role and hook us up with somebody who may be taking over this matter. It was Patrick Gilbert who was working on it.
Yes, sir.
And may I just, Delegate Beecham, if colleagues, I'd just like to make sure you know why Delegate Beecham has joined us. He is our colleague in the legislature, but not a member of the subcommittee. And I invited a member of the Wycomico delegation to be with us, and Delegate Beecham graciously agreed to do so. He's here to help answer questions and clarify this bill, the intent of the bill for us as needed. Delegate Beecham, did you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yes, I do not know who has actually replaced Patrick Gilbert, but I can find out.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
All right.
And is that something we need in order to finish amending, streamlining these bills? Patrick, you need that?
It would be helpful.
Okay. So Delegate Beecham, if you could do that for us
All
sooner
right.
than later, would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I also appreciate the background on the Wycomico and St. Mary's bills, Patrick, because I was curious about I didn't remember them from last year, but they did make me think about issues that we have in my jurisdiction in Baltimore City with a very famous type of panhandler, and that's the squeegee kid in Baltimore City. And it's been a challenge. And for our city for some time, but a couple of years ago, Mayor Brandon Scott and a whole host of allies and stakeholders and partners joined to create a squeegee collaborative that helps young folks who find themselves on the streets, begging, etc., and provides wraparound services. And it has been instrumental in reducing the number of young squeegee kids, and made a huge difference in many lives. And I didn't know if that was something important or interesting to Wycomico and St. Mary's, but it does sound like your issues are a little different. If I'm understanding right, Delegate Beecham, you don't have squeegee kids. Yeah. So what were the conditions that brought you to think of this bill?
Well, it was more about public safety. We have a lot of people that stand like in the median, right in front of Salisbury University and College Avenue, Route 13, Main Street and Route 13, and it's called North Point Drive, up where Walmart is in North Salisbury, on Route 13. And what happens is, as far as the solicitation, I don't mind, and I'm not opposed to that. What I am, I have the problem with is that people are, having it's a safety issue as far as for the pedestrian as well as the drivers, because they're having to avoid these people, and there are like 6 lanes on Route 13, and there are like 4 lanes that feed into from like these feeder, like roadways, and the people are standing like on a 2 foot narrow concrete. It's really not a sidewalk. It's just a curb, and they're standing there with signs, and from time to time there we have a lot of accidents that occur in these 3 particular places. That we're most interested in. Trying to just curb where they're standing. That's the reason for this bill. It's not about the solicitation.
And there's no sense that there's a large scale problem that requires a kind of coordinated intervention like we had in Baltimore City.
No,
Okay.
it's basically, I mean, again, this is just a local bill. The police chief, Salisbury City Police Chief, has come to me. The sheriff has come to me. They actually came up and spoke on at in front of the Senate for Senator Carrozza, because we cross-filed the bill last year, and they came up again this year, and basically have stood in and said it's an issue. It's a public safety issue. That's what we're trying to fix.
That's very helpful. Thank you. So I think what we need to do with House Bill 668 and House Bill 591 is hold these until we get a little more input. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Let me finish my statement. I feel like as Patrick expressed, we are interested in getting a little more feedback from the Wycomico County State's Attorney's Office. And we know that Delegate Beecham will help connect us with, was it State's Attorney? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so when we make that connection, that will help us a lot. With that, are there any questions? Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This question, I believe, is probably for Patrick. Patrick, same question I had in the hearing, and this would be for both bills because the language seems to be very similar. Is it already defined somewhere in law or in code what an inherently dangerous roadway is, or an inherently dangerous stretch of road? I'm just trying to wrap my brain around that. frankly, I've got some areas in my district that I think may meet this sort of criteria, but I want to understand what that is.
Well, it's defined in the bills. Inherently dangerous means posing a serious risk of injury to a pedestrian, driver, or passenger in a vehicle or other persons that cannot be mitigated with the exercise of ordinary care. Meaning that even if you're careful, you could still get hurt.
So, Patrick, I guess more clarifying then, maybe I should have asked the question a different way. Like, is that one person that could get hurt? Do we have to demonstrate that there have been multiple pedestrian strikes in the area? Do you understand where I'm getting at there? Does there have to be a pattern that's demonstrated?
Well, it's up to the county to determine whether they think that it's just a dangerous area that, you can't be safely in.
Okay. All right.
There's no statistics necessary. I mean, it's what are you gonna say? If 5 people die, then they can go to this intersection. That's.
Because I know that SHA keeps some data, Patrick, which I'm sure you're aware of for certain areas that they deem dangerous stretches of roadways, and they do look at number of pedestrian strikes and things like that. That's kind of where I was getting at with that, because I do have 2 areas in my district that have had a high number of pedestrian strikes, and SHA has and they might not call it dangerous stretch of road, but they've indicated that this is a stretch of road, and they're actually doing some stuff on one part of my district to mitigate that. That's kind of where I was getting at with that question, kind of if there's guidelines for it.
Well, that's the best guideline we have is the definition right now, and
okay,
we have to go with that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Delegate Morgan, I'm glad your hand is up, because I did want to give you a chance to talk about the St. Mary's bill. So please go ahead with your questions and any comments.
Yeah, so is my question, I guess, inherently then, this has been in St. Mary's County, the commissioners have supported it. We still have the same attorney. It's the same position we've had for the last 3 years. Is this being held up for the same reason? Is St. Mary's going to get help for the same reason why Comico is?
They're the same bills, so yes, but they're not. This is not like last year where we didn't have time to fix it. We think we have the fix. We just have to work with some language with state highway. Remember, I asked you yesterday if you were on state highways, and you said yes.
Yes.
That's what we're working through. Nothing wrong with the constitutional issue or anything like that.
So my question, are we going to get it through this year is my question. Are we going to have to come back for another session to do the same thing? Now that we got everything fair, now we're worried about how state highway is going to design a sign. Is that correct?
They're going to design a process for St. Mary's County to have these areas that St. Mary's County designates and goes through the process to put the signs up on state highways. They have to get state highway permission to do that.
So we have to wait for the state highway to design a sign, and then if we get this passed, they have to put the sign up.
That's my understanding as to how it's going to go.
And we think this can get done before crossover.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on this one. Thank you, Delegate Morgan. Any other questions about either St. Mary's or Wycomico's road safety bills? Okay, so we're going to hold on to these and give them attention when we have a little more information. Thanks, everyone. And Delegate Beecham, thanks for being with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. Have a nice evening.
Free to enjoy your evening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, we're going to move on to House Bill. If there's no more questions, we'll move on to House Bill 1169. That's the Howard County Speed Limits Bill. Patrick, can you talk us through?
Oh, this one's very straightforward. This just adds Howard County to Montgomery and Anne Arundel and municipals in Montgomery and Anne Arundel to jurisdictions that can decrease their speed limits to not less than 15 miles an hour after performing an engineering study.
So that same provision, that authority exists for Anne Arundel, Montgomery, Prince George's County.
Anne Arundel, Montgomery, and municipalities in those 2 counties.
And municipalities, okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Patrick. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'll move favorable on that bill.
Thank you, Delegate Jacobs. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Great. Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. House Bill 1170 passes. Thanks, everybody.
1160.
Sorry, 1169. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll move on to House Bill 212. Now, this is a piece of legislation Environment Transportation Committee has seen at least once before, maybe twice. I've only been with you for a year or so, and I know I've seen it. This is my second time.
I believe this is the fourth time.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay. Four is going to be the charm. So this is an important bill. This addresses improper registration of vehicles, drivers with vehicles in Maryland whose vehicles are not registered in Maryland after a certain length of time. Patrick, can you talk us through this one?
Yes, this is last year's bill establishing methods to get probable cause for local law enforcement and prosecution to write citations and impose fines and immobilization on vehicles that are registered in Virginia to Maryland residents. There are changes to last year's bill. Specifically, it allows MVA to take the plates of these vehicles. It authorizes reciprocal enforcement agreements with other jurisdictions. For MDOT people out there, this is the departmental language verbatim put into this bill. And then it prohibits title service agents from selling out-of-state registration to Maryland residents. And then it also authorizes MVA to suspend the license of a Maryland resident who unlawfully has Virginia plates.
Thank you. And the reprint, Leafka's brought it up for us to see. Colleagues, any questions? Delegate Ziegler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Patrick, as I understand it, it also exempts agricultural vehicles, trailers.
What it does is it does the enhanced enforcement provisions do not apply to trailers. They only apply to motor vehicles.
Okay. Thank you.
That answer your question, Delegate?
It did. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Delegate Jacobs.
So let me double back on that Delegate Ziegler's question there. I know that Farm Bureau was trying to exempt trailers out. So this does take care of their concern, correct?
Yes, if you take a look, if Leafka can go down to where we start B1, another page, and the next page. I stop, perfect. Delegate, you see here in line 25, in every instance where we were talking about vehicles in last year's bill, we now restrict it to motor vehicles, which is not trailers, obviously. So these enforcement provisions will not apply to trailers.
Okay, thank you.
Motor vehicle owners are subject to enforcement. Motor vehicles and motor vehicle owners. Okay. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a clarification for one of the elements that Patrick just talked about. Patrick, my dad recently, just to give an example of a circumstance to kind of tie this up here, my dad recently just bought a home in Delaware. He's keeping a vehicle there. He's not like, he wants to tag it with a Delaware tag. So what you're saying is in that circumstance, he wouldn't be able to use his like local tag and title place here to get a Delaware tag. Is that, do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Does that answer your question, Delegate Naraki?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Any other questions? Any discussion?
Move the bill, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Allen. Is there a second?
Well, we have amendments.
We have amendments?
Oh, move the amendments then.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you. Decency and order, people. Yeah, we're looking at a reprint, so we have amendments moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any discussion on the amendments? Oh, any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Do I have a motion on the bill?
Move the bill.
Second.
Thank you. Being properly moved and seconded, the bill is as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. House Bill 212 passes. Thank you, Patrick. Thanks, everybody. Let's move on to the next bill, House Bill 862, the two-person crew bill. So I know this bill's been around a long time, and I know some changes have been made to streamline it. Patrick, can you talk us through?
Yes, this is back to the original simpler version. This requires two-person crew on freight trains traveling in commuter corridors in the state. Simple as that. The one difference, or one big difference, is that it's contingent. Its effectiveness is contingent on Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New York enacting similar legislation.
So it doesn't become effective until those other states adopt it?
Correct.
Adopt the same legislation? Okay. Any questions, members? Delegate Jacobs? And then, thank you, Ms. Harris-Jones. We're going to just wait till someone asks you a direct question.
All right.
Delegate Jacobs, go ahead.
All right, so I remember this in the hearing, and also right now it came back to my memory. It says include all neighboring states. Right now, the bill, or it talks about neighboring states, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, but it doesn't mention, any others like Delaware, West Virginia. I mean, they're neighboring states. So shouldn't this amendment say like bordering Maryland?
Well, what they're going at here is Norfolk, Philadelphia, and New York City ports.
Yeah, I understand.
That's why they're going. That's why those states are named.
But wouldn't it be clearer to say border, the bordering states?
Well, that wouldn't include New York. We could say bordering states and New York, but they were saying these states because they have the ports in them.
Yeah, I remember that in the hearing. I'm just, we're kind of skipping over something. That was my concern.
Mhm. Thank you for the question, Delegate Jacobs. So any other perspectives, members? From my perspective, Delegate Allen, go ahead then.
Oh, I was just going to clarify with Patrick. Are there amendments on this compared to what we heard in the committee?
No, I don't have any. No.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Madam Chair.
No, thank you, Delegate Allen. So I think this is a bill that's been worked, refined for some time, but I do wonder if Delegate Ziegler, you have questions?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Am I wrong? I thought there was also a federal law with regards to this, and that there's a reason we needed to pass it in Maryland as well. Could somebody refresh? No. Okay.
There is a federal law, yes.
There is a federal law. That's what I thought. So I think that maybe that takes care of the border states issue. I guess I'm asking you, Patrick.
Yeah, good question.
Well, it's a matter of the subcommittee's will.
Okay.
You think of the border states. I mean, it would be sort of silly to expect West Virginia to pass something like this. They don't have a port, and apparently they don't think Delaware's port is really competitive with Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't involved in drafting the bill, so I don't know. That's just a guess.
Okay. Thanks, Delegate Ziegler. Delegate Guyton?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I would like to direct the same question to David Pendleton. I feel like he might have the answer on that. This may be a safeguard. My understanding, a safeguard for what might happen if current administration doesn't,
Yes,
make sure.
yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. That is exactly what it is. It's a safeguard if the current administration were to withdraw the rule, or if the rule were to be successfully challenged in court and removed, then this would be a safeguard for railways in the state of Maryland. And Patrick, to your point, it is exactly about port states. It's about the potential competitors for the Port of Baltimore. That's why these three states are mentioned, because if freight or cargo were to, for some reason, leave Maryland, it's either going to go to Norfolk, Pennsylvania, or New York. So if they enact it, then there would be no threat to the competitiveness for the Port of Baltimore at all. As of now, the federal rule that is in place certainly covers all states in the country, the lower 48 rather. But that is what that speaks to.
Thank you so much. That answers my question.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
ma'am.
Pendleton. Thank you, Delegate Guyton. So I'd like to make sure that we get all of the members' questions answered. So this is a great discussion, and I see your hand up, Sushant, but we're going to wait until a member asks you a direct question. But stay in the room with us and you'll get a direct question. I see Delegate Jacobs and then Delegate Allen.
Okay, I have some rail over on in on the Eastern Shore, and it connects Maryland and Delaware in a certain way and all this. So if Sean could answer some of those questions, I see he's got his hand up. Maybe he could give me some clarity also.
Thank you, Delegate Jacobs. Sushant, please go ahead and help Delegate with his questions.
Yes, sir. So again, I think the amendment that or the discussion that you started with in terms of making sure that bordering states were included. I do understand Mr. Pendleton's point about ports, but I think that the rail infrastructure in Maryland actually is benefited not only by the port infrastructure, but also by being the gateway to the west, which goes through our neighboring states, Pennsylvania, including West Virginia as well. So we're the gateway to the Midwest, meaning Chicago, effectively. And so that is part of the reason why we believe that having neighboring states included is important. As far as Delaware, again, Delaware is a neighboring port state. The Port of Wilmington is quite robust and has been a competitor to the Port of Baltimore over the years. So again, we're just thinking that, if we're going to include states in this conversation, we might as well include all the neighboring states.
Okay, thank you, Sushant. Delegate Jacobs, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it does, because like I said, on the Eastern Shore, we border Delaware all the way up and down, and there is freight that moves up and down there. So that's why I brought that issue up to begin with.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Delegate Allen and then Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for Mr. Pendleton again. I think you touched on this already, but I just wanted to double check. I was under the impression, and you can tell me if this is right or wrong, that Norfolk is basically the Port of Baltimore's biggest competitor. Is that accurate?
That is absolutely correct, sir. The main competitor for the Port of Baltimore is the Port of Norfolk.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Delegate Allen. Thank you, Mr. Pendleton. Delegate Naraki, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Making sure I wasn't frozen there, Madam Chair. Sorry. This is probably also for Mr. Pendleton. Mr. Pendleton, why did we not consider the Port of Wilmington, North Carolina? We went 2 states away with the port in New York. Looking at kind of cargo volumes, the port in North Carolina appears to be larger than the port in Philadelphia in terms of just cargo volume there. So I'm just curious the logic there.
So the main competitive advantage for the Port of Baltimore is its proximity to Chicago, which is what Mr. Sid touched on. In order for cargo to go from North Carolina to reach to Chicago. I have a rail map that's attached to my written testimony. It has to take a very long, meandering path where it's either A, going to connect to our railroad here in Maryland to get to Chicago, or it's going to have to go down through Louisiana to Texas and then go up through like Missouri and Kansas, the central part of America. So it saves like almost a day, I believe it is, 24 hours to get to Chicago by leaving from Maryland. Norfolk, the Port of Norfolk has to take a similar meandering path. However, it's not nearly as long as it is coming from Carolina. And the same thing for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania either has to go up to New York and connect to their rail line that gets to Chicago, or it has to come back down here to Maryland and connect to our rail line. So that's why those three states are the main ones. And I just want to briefly touch on a point for Delegate Jacobs that the rail line, okay, this is also about safety with passengers. The rail line on the Eastern Shore that connects to Delaware does not have passenger service. So this law is limited to that which shares a high-speed rail passenger corridor connection. So I just wanted to point that out to him. But that's what it's about, Delegate Naraki. It's the amount of time that's saved going out west to Chicago.
No, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Pendleton.
You're very welcome.
That answers your question, Delegate Naraki.
Move the bill, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Delegate Allen. Bill's been.
I'll second.
There's a
So-
second. All right. So there are no amendments. We're moving the bill properly moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed?
Me.
Delegate Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you. Delegate Morgan. Delegate Jacobs and Delegate Morgan opposed.
Aye. Sorry, Madam
Delegate
Chair.
Maraki opposed. Okay, how are we doing here? Patrick, so 3 opposed. And the ayes, can you raise your hands again? Ziegler, Allen, A to Z. Ziegler, Allen. Who am I missing? I can't see
You.
everybody. Oh, Delegate Guyton
And you.
and myself, I am an aye. So that is 4 members voting aye. Ziegler, Allen, Guyton, and Lewis. 3 members nay. That's Jacobs, Morgan, Naraki. The ayes have it. Okay, House Bill 862 has passed on party lines. All right. We got through it though. Thank you guys for your thoughtfulness. We are now moving to House Bill 1081. That's the MTA Reform Act. And this is a bill, I believe we have amendments, Patrick?
Yes, well, this bill came out of the work group that met over the interim on MTA reorganization. And it recommended and is in the bill establishing a governing board of directors for the Baltimore Core Service, an advisory board for commuter services, that's MARC Train and Commuter Bus, establishes 12 management personnel position as to attract the top talent to MTA, as is the case with other modals in MDOT, alters MTA liability exposure to match the rest of the state, has a constitutional amendment to allow quick take authority for MTA, same as for SHA. Much of this is mirroring what already is the case for SHA for the transit service, and requires a technical study on establishing a rail authority in the state. The amendments put MTA in the same procurement posture as state highway. This bill is not going to be voted on today. The amendments are not finished or finalized, but I can give you just a preview of what some of them are. They require conflict of interest and recusal provisions for board members of the new boards, and then added non-voting student member to the Baltimore Core Services Board. I think that's our chair here's idea.
Great. So we're waiting on the amendments to come to be prepared for our review. but that's the bill with those updates. Any discussion? Delegate Ziegler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Am I correct that this bill also adds MTA to the Maryland Tort Claims Act?
Well, yes, that's the liability provisions. They're the only state agency that is not subject to it.
Right.
And that's due to their early nature as a private entity. It wasn't always a state entity.
Okay. Thank you.
Answer your question there. What is the Maryland? Could you explain what that is? What does that mean? Maryland tort law. What does that mean?
So the Maryland Tort Claims Act limits liability for state agencies to, I think it's $400,000 or
Correct.
something like that, which is less than half of the non-economic damages cap for anybody else. So they have a very predictable and limited liability, and this would add MTA to that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Ziegler. Patrick, you got to relax on that one. Okay. Thank you. I see Delegate Jacobs and then Delegate Naraki.
Thank you. I'm
Are we all frozen?
We're thawed now.
Wait a minute. I'm back on.
Okay.
I think the
Sorry, guys. I froze. We froze over here.
yeah, we froze over here too.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
So, Delegate Jacobs, you were just about to speak. I didn't hear anything.
All right now. So what I said was there was a testimony from the treasurer's office saying they wanted to maintain oversight of the MTA capital expenditures. And that was in their letter submitted. So do these amendments address that issue?
Patrick.
It looks like Patrick was kicked out. He's
Oh,
just,
no.
he's
Okay.
just back in now, I think.
Okay. Thank you,
They
Leafka.
kicked us all out.
Yeah, I'm starting to take that personally. Zoom.
It's a
Okay.
regular occurrence for me.
For you. All right, Patrick, you're back. Delegate Jacobs had a question about, what was it now?
It was in the letter testimony from the treasurer. They wanted to maintain the board's oversight of MTA capital expenditures. Is that in the amendments?
No. What is in the amendments is that the recommendation of the work group was to mirror the procurement status of State Highway Administration. And
Are we back?
Better talk fast.
Oh, there we go. Linda got us restarted. Sorry, so sorry.
I got half of it, Patrick, but the demons are in the system tonight.
yeah.
So
Go
you
ahead
said
again, Patrick. I'm so sorry. Would you start over?
following the state procurement, and then I lost it.
Okay. State highway for highways, bridges, and roads or whatever is they're not subject to Board of Public Works review. And one of the recommendations of the work group was to give similar status to the Maryland Transit Administration. Now that there's a bill currently before the GLE committee to limit that provision for state highways, roads, bridges to 500,000 projects under $500,000. And we have in the amendment a provision that if that bill passes, that provision will also apply to transit. So whatever happens to that bill, this bill will say MTA mirrors what happens with SHA.
Thank you for that response.
Thank you,
God, I
Patrick.
got it in.
If we do lose signal again, hang in there, we will restart. Okay, thank you. And that's for all of our visitors as well. All right, any other questions? Did I see Naraki, Delegate Naraki? Yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Sorry, I forgot to raise my hand again after we froze. I apologize. Patrick, I'm trying to thumb through the bill quickly just to see it, but I haven't yet found it. What is the technical study on the creation of a rail authority in the state of Maryland? Is that looking at heavy rail, all rail? Is it looking to deal with the short rail lines that the MTA sort of assumed from the old Railroad Commission in Maryland? What is that study looking at? I was trying to find if there's any more in the bill about it, but what are we looking to do there with that?
Well, there's not a lot of detail on it in that, but I would imagine it would cover all of the above.
Okay. Thank you. I just was, yeah. Where is that in the bill, Patrick? Do you know where that is? I was just trying to find it.
It's a special section, one of the last ones.
Okay.
Section 6.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
It's on page 24 to 25.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the question, Delegate. Okay, any other discussion on this bill, which we're going to hold until we have the amendments in hand? So I think this is a really important bill. This will make a big difference for the future of transit in our state. And it is the product of an effectively implemented work group. So I'm glad to have it before us. If there's no other discussion, we'll hold this bill until we have the amendments in hand. Okay? Great. Thank you, Patrick. Last on our list, House Bill 253. This is the heavyweight port corridor permits bill. And this one is a departmental. Can you walk us through this one, Patrick?
Sure.
Thank you, Leifka, for pulling up the reprint or the bill.
Yeah, this does have an amendment.
Okay. I do not have, I don't know why I do not have that. We'll have to talk us through it, Patrick.
Okay, it's, well, this bill is fairly straightforward. It's amending the heavyweight port corridor permits by saying that they don't have to do their routes by regulation. They can do their routes by permit. By regulation, because of road closures and things like that, and quite frankly a bridge collapse. But the destinations they would do by regulations that you can use for the heavyweight permits, but the routes, they could establish that by the permit. So that makes it a lot easier. Instead of having to do a few week-long emergency regulation, they can put it in the permit, do it through the regular process. And the amendments just clarify some language. For some reason, the Senate bill and the House bill came out differently. The Senate bill is the correct one, and our bill is being amended to look like the Senate one.
Okay. So we want to harmonize the House and Senate, the House bill to match the Senate bill.
Right. If you want to go down a little bit, Leifka, I can point that out to you. Remember, I said that down here in line 16, that the routes are not going to be part of the regulation. They're going to be part of the permit. So that was taken out there, and then the specific routes left for the permit up above.
And this has something to do with emergency situations, like with the bridge collapse, the key bridge collapse.
Well,
This gives MVA more flexibility.
well, no, this is the what you call it, blanking. The port, I guess.
Oh, Seegert.
Yeah, this is for heavy trucks. And they are permitted by
The travel of
SHA.
vehicles are traveling from Seegert Marine Terminal.
Right, to predetermined destinations by regulation on routes that will be set in the permit.
Okay. Thank you. Very helpful. Thank you so much, Patrick. Any questions? Any discussion on this bill? So do we need to wait until we have the amendments, correct, Patrick?
No, we have them. This is the reprint right here.
Oh, I didn't have the reprint in my hand. It's on the screen. No wonder. Okay. Thank you, Leivka, for pulling up the reprint. Okay, we have the amendments before us. So this is a clarifying amendment that brings the House bill into harmony with the Senate version, which is what we want. I see Delegate Jacobs.
I have a question for Louis Campion.
Thank you. Mr. Campion? You can unmute. And
Yes,
there you are.
Madam Chair.
Yeah. I'll make sure you're still with us, that's all.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is this bill as amended, is it good for you guys?
Yes, we support this bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Campion. That answers your question, I think, Delegate Jacobs. All right. Any other questions? So we have the amendments before us. Do I have a motion on the amendments?
So moved.
Madam Chair.
Second? Moved and seconded. Great, thank you. The amendments have been properly moved and seconded, although, okay. So I'm wondering if MDOT would like to be heard. Mr. Mickler?
Apologies to interrupt. We were doing a quick comparison, I think, of the reprint there against the Senate bill, and there might be one more conforming amendment that's needed. I can only reference to the Senate bill, but we can also coordinate with Patrick on that. It's a one-word change.
Really? Can you tell us the word?
And again, it's if the intent was to align with the Senate bill language, then I think it's all consistent with the action being taken here.
Patrick?
Well, where's the change?
Yeah, what is the word?
It's so if you could pull the reprint back up again for a second, I can specify. I don't have a line number relative to the reprint, unfortunately. Okay, so it would be in the grouping on between lines 7 to 9, after the bracket specific, it would end up saying specific route identified on the permit between Seegert and Marine Terminal.
Oh, yeah. I must have forgot to type that in, but he's right. That was part of what I meant to put in.
Just, yeah.
So it's just between line 7 and 9.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense without the word. It would read on the specific route identified on the permit.
Right. Okay. Good catch. Patrick, is that, since that's a kind of common sense and technical change, can we consider that part of the amendment for the purposes here?
Yes.
So everybody, are you comfortable with inserting the word identified on line 7 of the reprint? All those in favor say aye. Okay, so the amendments now incorporate the word that we just added. So I think we should move them again, the amendments as amended. Do I have a motion?
That's discussed in concept.
Second.
I don't know if that's in Robert's rules, but okay.
I move to conform to the Senate bill.
Thank you, Delegate Allen, and seconded. Okay, the amendments to conform House Bill 253 to the Senate bill have been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any discussion? Any opposed? Great. Okay, the amendments have been adopted. Do I have a motion on the bill?
Move the
So
bill.
moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. As amended, House Bill 253 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? All right, House Bill 253 as amended passes. Good work, everybody. Is there any other business? All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you to our guests. Thank you, members. We will see you at the next meeting, which should be Monday, March 9th. Stay tuned. Good night and thanks.